Barely 24 hours after U.S. President Joe Biden announced his decision to step aside from his re-election bid, Vice President Kamala Harris addressed a National Collegiate Athletic Association event in Washington, D.C. This is her first address since Biden endorsed his second in command to fill his shoes.
Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy of most presidents who have served 2 terms in office.
Since Sunday, several Democrats have thrown their support behind Harris as the presidential nominee for the Democrats. Among the heavyweights, former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton endorsed Harris for president as well. However, former U.S. President Barack Obama and top Democrat lawmaker Nancy Pelosi have remained silent. Harris has so far raked in funds of $50 million overnight. Harris became the first woman, person of color, and first Asian American to ascend to vice presidency when Democrats won the election in 2020. Biden chose the 59-year-old as his running mate months after she suspended her own presidential campaign for lack of funding. Let's now cross over to our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's joining us live from New York. Hi, Susan. We saw the vice president appear for the first time after she was endorsed by President Joe Biden. She was all smiles. She did not speak about her endorsement. She chose to speak about Biden's legacy. What did you read from that?
Yeah, the vice president really stuck to the script that was in front of her, reading off the teleprompter. We do know that she's been criticized in the past for making gaffes during these kind of events when she goes off script. She did talk about her personal relationship with Beau Biden, which is President Biden's late son who passed away. And she talked about the president and his accomplishment. Now, she was at an event where usually President Biden would have led that event, the NCAA event, the championship of it, which is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. It's a civil rights event. So it's as apolitical as it comes, an event like this. So perhaps it wasn't the place, and she knows that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for her to talk about how she's going to move forward, what kind of policy she has. You know, her team hasn't really figured that out yet. But for now, it was important for her to say that she was loyal to President Biden all along and how much she respects him. It's going to be very difficult to see how she wants to differentiate herself from the president, but it appears that she's going to be heading to Delaware, where the campaign headquarters of President Biden was for a campaign event. Her staff says that she's going there to say hello, so we don't know the nature of this event, but she's not wasting any time.
Susan, there are a lot of rumors and murmurs roiling around in the United States right now because Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi have not endorsed Kamala Harris for the presidency or for the Democrat ticket for the presidency in November. What are you gathering from the Democrats camp in the United States? What are they saying? Is there another likely candidate that will be facing Kamala Harris at the convention, or we should wait for another surprise from the Democrats?
Yeah, I mean, in the world of politics, you never know what comes up, right, Eric? But it appears that she'll possibly be ultimately the candidate. There is this theory that big names like Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Congress, Senate, aren't coming forward and endorsing her because of the criticism that they will face, that they sort of crowned her immediately after Biden stepped aside. And a more democratic approach would be to have an open convention, so those voters that went to the primaries and voted, the 14 and 15 million voters, at least don't feel like their vote meant absolutely nothing. So whether or not there's going to be a serious candidate against her, it's very unlikely that a Democrat will rise up to that. We have heard rumors in the last 24 hours that Joe Manchin, the Democrat turned independent from West Virginia, who has more moderate views than Harris, might turn back to becoming a Democrat and running against her at the convention. But, you know, even if there are names, it's very unlikely that the people, the base, would pick someone else besides Kamala Harris.
All right, that is our correspondent.
But you never know.
You never know. You actually never know. You never know. You're right about that. You never know. So we'll just have to wait and hope there is no other surprise. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
And still on that, we spoke to Peter Kuznick, who is a professor of history at American University, and this is what he had to say.
Well, Trump was salivating over the prospect of running against Joe Biden. The Republicans might have had a landslide had Biden stayed in the race. Fortunately, wiser heads finally prevailed. Running against Kamala Harris is very different than running against Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was a profoundly unpopular person and leader. Harris can still define herself she could be Mamala Kamala, and that would be very, very popular in the United States. One big thing has changed. When Trump was president, he put 3 Supreme Court justices in there who were all extremely right-wing extremists. And what they've done is they've taken away the right to abortion, and they've attacked women's health rights. Kamala is going to make abortion a major issue. Biden did not even mention the word abortion. Kamala will make that front and center, and the women are going to rally around that. Not just women, not just Black women, young voters desperately wanted somebody other than Biden, and now they're going to be motivated. I saw my students were not coming out to vote, or were going to vote for third-party candidates. Now they're going to be much more enthused behind Kamala Harris. I think that those polls are correct. I think Harris's lead is likely to widen, and that the Republicans realize that they're in deep trouble right now.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.